The dream, Car Maria, has always been a woman with humble dreams. Since she was little, she grew up seeing life through the lens of an almost painful simplicity, where luxury and ostentation seemed distant, like stars she could see but never touch. She never longed for riches, never wished for mansions or jewels. Her dreams were small and modest, but they were hers. And the one that had stayed with her for as long as she could remember was simple: to one day have her own car. Not a new car, not something fancy, just a reliable, used car. Something that would take her away from the crowded buses with their broken seats and their long, suffocating rides where she felt invisible, lost in a sea of strangers. For Maria, the bus rides weren't just uncomfortable, they were symbolic. They represented the part of her life where she had no control, where she was forced to follow a schedule that wasn't hers, to squeeze between strangers and endure the indifferent gazes of people too busy with their own lives to notice hers. To her, a car was more than a means of transportation. It was freedom. It was dignity. It was proof that she could achieve something for herself, no matter how small. But reality, cruel and unforgiving, had always stood in her way. Her calloused hands, worn from years of scrubbing, cleaning and cooking, were a reminder of her hard work, but also of the limitations that life imposed on her. The long days of labor left her exhausted, and when she returned home, she would collapse on her bed, too tired to think about her dreams. Still, every morning she would rise, whispering to herself, one day, I will make it. It was a small belief, fragile like a flame flickering in the wind, but it was enough to keep her moving forward, even when life seemed determined to extinguish it. Meeting Neymar. On the other side of the world, or so it seemed, Neymar lived a life that many would envy. The glare of the cameras followed him wherever he went. The roar of crowds chanting his name echoed in stadiums across continents, and luxury was as common to him as breathing. His garage was filled with cars that cost more than most people would earn in a lifetime. But for all the glamour, all the luxury, something inside him felt hollow. The fame, the money, the trophies, they no longer gave him the satisfaction they once did. He had spent years chasing success, but now that he had caught it, it didn't feel the way he thought it would. What he craved was something deeper, something real. He wanted to understand the lives of people who fought for things that he had taken for granted. He wanted to meet the people who, despite their struggles, still found ways to keep dreaming. That was how he ended up in Maria's neighborhood. Not as Neymar, the superstar, but as a man searching for something that the bright lights of his world couldn't give him. He walked through the streets quietly, observing the simplicity of life there. Children playing with makeshift toys, women hanging clothes on lines stretched between buildings, the smell of food wafting from open windows. It was a world so different from his, but it fascinated him. And that's when he saw her. Maria wasn't remarkable at first glance. She was small, her posture slightly hunched from the weight of the bags she carried. But there was something about her that caught his attention, perhaps the way she moved with quiet determination, or the way her eyes, though tired, held a glimmer of something unspoken. He watched her from a distance, trying to understand her story, until fate brought him closer. Maria's simple dream. Maria didn't know that someone was watching her. She was used to going unnoticed. Every day she woke up before the sun, prepared breakfast for her children, and left for work. Her life was a routine of tasks, obligations and sacrifices. The dream she had as a child, of traveling, of having adventures, had faded over time, buried beneath the weight of responsibility. But the dream of having her own car had survived. It was the one dream she allowed herself to hold on to, even when reality tried to pry it from her hands. Neymar learned about this dream through a neighbor. He had stopped to chat with an older woman who sat on her porch, and as they talked, she mentioned Maria. She spoke of her hard work, her dedication to her family, and the quiet hope that never left her. "She's a good woman," the neighbor said. "She doesn't ask for much. But she's always talking about that car. It's her dream." Neymar listened, and something stirred inside him. The simplicity of Maria's dream, the purity of it, was a stark contrast to the excess he was used to. It wasn't about luxury or status. It was about dignity, about making life a little easier. He couldn't stop thinking about it. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give someone is not material, but the opportunity to be seen, valued, and respected in a world where so many people feel invisible, overlooked, or forgotten. Offering a gesture of kindness can be a lifeline, one that reminds them that their dreams matter. Small gestures, like the car given to Maria, can seem simple on the surface, but their impact runs deep. They bring hope to those who've been struggling, courage to those who've lost their way, and a spark of belief to those who feel forgotten. Maria's story is a powerful reminder that we all carry dreams within us. For some, those dreams may seem far out of reach, buried beneath responsibilities, hardships, and years of waiting. But hope, even when it's faint, never fully disappears. Sometimes all it takes is for someone to see us, to believe in us, and to offer a small opening in the door that we've been knocking on for so long. That small opening can be the start of a life-changing transformation. For Maria, that car wasn't just a means of getting from one place to another. It was a symbol of freedom, a chance to reclaim her dignity and independence. It showed her that life, despite its challenges, can surprise us in the most unexpected ways. It was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, light can find its way through. And for Neymar, this was more than an act of generosity. It was a moment of reflection and growth. As someone who had everything, he learned that the most valuable gifts are not the ones we keep, but the ones we give away. In that moment, he understood that true happiness doesn't come from accumulating more wealth or fame or possessions. It comes from seeing someone else's life improve because of something we did. The sparkle in Maria's eyes, the way her tears turned from pain to joy, and the quiet peace she felt sitting behind the wheel of her car, that was Neymar's reward, far greater than any trophy or applause. And now, we invite you to reflect on this story and ask yourself, who in your life needs to be seen, heard, and valued? Maybe it's a friend, a family member, or even a stranger you pass by every day. A small gesture, whether it's a kind word, a helping hand, or just taking the time to listen, can mean the world to someone who's struggling. You never know how far that ripple of kindness will go. Did you enjoy this heart-warming story of hope and transformation? If it touched you in any way, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know how this story inspired you, and share your own experiences of how small acts of kindness have made a difference in your life or in the lives of others. And don't stop here. Share this video with friends and family. You never know who might need a little dose of hope today. Sometimes stories like these remind us of what truly matters: connection, kindness, and the power we all have to change the world, one person at a time. If you haven't yet, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. By doing so, you're not just supporting us, but also helping more people discover stories that can uplift and inspire them. Turn on the notification bell to make sure you never miss our next story. Who knows? The next one might be exactly what you or someone you love needs to hear. Together, let's create a community that believes in the power of kindness, that values the dreams of others, and that stands as a reminder that no matter how small a gesture seems, it can leave an impact that lasts a lifetime. Let's be the change we wish to see. Let's be the spark that keeps hope alive.